Hey everybody, how y'all doing? It's Matt C. Welcome to the live stream tonight. We're talking about OCs, original characters. I don't know, it's just something it's been on my mind. It's kind of funny. Let me, so you're not just looking at my weird Final Fantasy VI OCs. See if I can bring some stuff up. It's kind of interesting. There's just a lot of I'd say people working in parallel, but I think the phrase silos communities is kind of a bit overplayed. But I think as the world kind of gets more and more connected, I think there's a lot of like crashing together of different communities kind of operating in the same space. So like the OC world. Well, let's back up. What are OCs? So I've sent out the link, and this is open mic night tonight, so anyone can come in. The Streamyard link is in the description, but until folks come in, so I'm going to give my shot, and then I'll probably be asking folks as they come in. Really, so everyone, a lot of people write fiction, a lot of people tell stories, they come up with characters, and they talk about them online, right? OCs are kind of above and beyond that. I think of them as when people refer to their OCs, they're thinking about these kind of almost lifetime investments in a character that has kind of a meta narrative. Like they're probably, if they're coming up with characters, they're probably coming up with backgrounds and situations and narratives for these characters. But oftentimes, you'll see people come up with OCs before they come up with stories for them. And I think that's pretty interesting. Usually, if you're just approaching something as an author, you're approaching it as you come up with a story, and then if you're a good storyteller, I think it's a character-driven story, so you're probably coming up with characters who embody the sort of themes you want to play through and that sort of thing. That's a very different thing than OCs. OCs is just coming up with characters and exploring them. Maybe they're just an extension of the sort of things that you are aesthetically interested in that you want to mash up. Sorry, it's just 1 second as I share this out. We are live, guys. I'd share my Twitter, but a bunch of communists and libertarians are in the middle of arguing on my TL. You know how that is. So I asked the question about the difference between equity and equality, and so that got me in some hot water. But we've got a couple buddies over. We got Carrot. How you doing, Carrot?
What's up, pal?
Yeah, hey. And we also got Justin Dutton. Wow, you're rocking the hair. I love it. I feel like you're always a beanie.
Yeah.
Right? Always beanied.
Well, I mean, that's because like it's starting to thin out. So I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But you're gonna see me like take off my headset every now and then because I am cooking at the time. But I was like, I really want to be part of this conversation, but I also want to eat.
Yep. Yep. My wife's out of town, so I just I literally drove to McDonald's. Got myself a McDouble and a McChicken and enjoyed that.
Living it up.
Yeah, I'm McLovin' it. Like it's funny. Like I was raised by hippies, and we were always eating organic or vegan and all this sort of stuff. And so like I was basically taught that McDonald's was you basically go to liberal hell if you eat that stuff. And and it's very much not enjoyable.
I mean, I feel like it goes both ways. Like the preppers are like, that's like Zog Chow. That's the stuff that brainwashes you.
Yeah.
Put the chemicals in there.
Yeah. And I get it, but I don't know. Sometimes you just need to chill out and take a bite.
Sometimes stuff's just unhealthy. That's all.
Yeah, that's okay.
And then you just reconcile with that decision and go ahead with it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I view it is we all die some way, so eat what you want to.
I might as well go out enjoying myself.
Yeah, so we're just chatting about OCs. Like, I don't know, it's just something I've been thinking about, how it's just funny how original, everyone's like writing characters and they're telling stories. They're thinking about how they want to do these things, But OCs are kind of a different breed, aren't they? It's kind of like this interesting. A lot of times people don't even have stories, or they're just kind of in their head and they're happy with that, and they just draw fan art of their own characters. And I think that's really interesting. It's not something a lot of people. There you go. There's an OC. Yep. Or is it an OC? I don't know. Like, what categorize? When is something not an original? This OC type thing. Because it started as like a DeviantArt, I feel like, or maybe a Tumblr type approach where.
Well, I think part of it, has to do with the fact that some people may have the drive to create a specific character or personality trait, either because they identify with it or they like a specific aspect of it, or they see something that they enjoy and they want to emulate it, but they don't quite know how to take it further than the concept stage of the characters. And so they kind of dwell in that area for a long time and they just become enamored by this world that they develop for themselves. It's almost like an escapism, I think, anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But do you think, because a lot of times it seems like people, they come up with their OC and it's like an extension of
themselves.
I mean, usually.
It's an extension of yourself. I mean, you're creating it. It's a part of you. Like, even if you're talking about Kyrie, it's still a part of you. Those are your OCs. You've just gone and actually put something out there for people to read. Like, some of these people have the stories in their head. They just don't know how to go about either writing it or asking for help with writing it because they're afraid to approach people for the answers, or they might just not have the time or the energy to do it. Yeah. They might have only the energy to create the characters and live in that world versus production and running print and customer service and all the hassle of being a creator.
Yeah, and it's like I totally get like it. Actually, producing like books of your original content is not it's not for the faint of heart. It kind of drives, you kind of have to be a little crazy to want to do that. And I guess there's a big jump that people maybe don't initially realize when, you just take a piece of paper and you draw characters on it and it's fun and you're having a good, happy, fun time. And then taking that and then jumping into
the red tape
paneling and understanding like how to tell something that people want to follow.
The way I kind of look at it is like almost like Greek mythology in a way, like because in a way, like I'll draw characters all the time, just doodling or whatever. Sometimes I have cool designs and I'm like, oh, that's neat, but I don't do anything with it. And sometimes I'm like, yo, this design it's doing something. So I've made the clay man, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And what changes from like concept to OC is the moment where you go, okay, yeah, I've created this hunk of clay, but now let me actually breathe life. Yep.
Yeah.
Breath of life. Exactly.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like, I don't know, it's like some of the people that really inspired me to get into making comics, I've found over the years, like they were really like OC types, where it was like they were making really awesome original stuff and they're like, oh yeah, I've got some ideas for these characters, wouldn't it be fun? And I'm like, oh wow, I want to see that. I'm going to go do something. And now, okay, I'm making a story. And then I check back in on them and they're still kind of daydreaming. But
that's me.
Yeah. Wait, you're daydreaming, or you're like?
I always daydreaming. Always be daydreaming.
I mean,
but there's space.
Well, I think a bit as a creator, we live almost more in. I don't want to quite say fantasy, but I'm going to anyways because I can't like white boy. We live more in like the fantasy than we almost do reality, where we daydream a lot more, and we take our daydreams and we force it into reality. when we actually create stories and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if not, everyone daydreams. Everyone, like, even people who don't create will have a daydream of like some sort of story or adventure, but that's all that happens. It stays a daydream.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? It's almost like maybe that creative energy. Like, I hate to, because sometimes a lot of people do start in the OC space, and because they spend so much time with these characters, they end up, if they do create stories, they become almost like extra compelling, in my opinion. And you see this with a lot of like web comics over the years. But do you think if it's not productive, is it? I'm trying to put the right words to use. Like, maybe they're just kind of thinking in terms of drawing pictures in their Photoshop documents, and they're not thinking in terms of like.
Not everybody, I don't think, has a story behind the picture that they're drawing. I think they draw something that looks aesthetically pleasing, and then they go from there. Sometimes if it like pleases you enough, you develop that story behind it. You're like, okay, so what's the deal behind this scar or this trinket that they have? And then you kind of start world building from that character design aspect. So I think it's just a different way to go about building the story itself versus like the outline type of structure. It's more like trying to come up with summoning the essence of the world you're trying to develop, because the world is going to be populated by these people, right? So of course they're going to be the ones that inspire the direction. But if you don't go any further, it could just be that they either don't have the time or energy or the means to go about putting it into like a comic format, or they just don't have the desire. Some people just like to leave it as it is, I guess.
Which I will say, when it comes to story, most of the time it's not even like whatever I do that actually creates my story. It's looking at like music albums or just like random concept art, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool piece. And I do that as like an exercise, begin with anyways, of just like I'll type in like video game concept art or something, and just like look at a small piece and like, all right, let me just write a page story just as an exercise. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, that's a really, really cool piece. And then I think of the whole world around this, and I do it more for like music albums. And that's like how Unstitched happened, was a rap album called Blank Pages by Dr. Awkward. Had like a teddy bear fighting like a shadow dragon thing. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a cool story? And then all I did was I eventually made my own characters. And, I plugged things out, but, the world created, not even from, like, essentially me, it was more or less my sister going, hey, you should make a kid's book. And at the time, I was just really listening to Dr. Awkward and, like, his album cover. I was like, oh, that's dope. So sometimes, like, stories don't even come from, like, your OCs. It comes from something else, and then you just kind of go, well, okay, well, now let me pull out and plug in and create OCs.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's really like, because my philosophy with writing stories is that they really have to be character focused, and the world that you're building is really, I mean, that world is an extension of your characters. Like, they have to live. They're breathing the oxygen of the world because the world's kind of built for them, right?
Well, like,
so it makes sense to
building a world that shapes your characters too. So like they reflect the world that they live in because it's what molded them into who they are.
Yeah, and I guess a lot of times
it's like
you really
working backwards.
Yeah, and if you're just starting, if you're starting with aesthetics and you start with like, what do I feel like drawing a lot, and you get really used to and even like emotionally invested in that sort of that style and that look and these particular characters, like I feel like you can go a long way, I think, to jump starting off of that into really telling compelling stories. But like at the same time, like I'm just trying to figure out how to. I don't want to just dunk on people who only unless they thought they were going to write stories and then they never did.
Do it. Be the Michael Jordan and dunk.
Well, because it's weird because like a lot of this stuff exists because of internet communities, and a lot of times maybe the output, the effect is just having a lot of people comment on your image and say, "Wow, that's really cute. I want to draw that character with my character." Yeah. And if that's
and,
it
encourages like group interaction and stuff.
Yeah. So maybe that's that's successful if that's the only way you're thinking about your art in an ecosystem, but yeah, it's complicated. It's weird.
The only thing that because there's a side venue to that, the people who design the OCs and then sell them, because you can purchase pre-designed characters if you don't have the ability, maybe you have the idea for one in your head, but you don't have the skill to actually draw it, or you don't think you do, and then you commission other people to do it. A lot of people do that too. Yeah. And there's a bunch of artists that I follow who've auctioned off original characters for hundreds of dollars, and it's just man, there's a market out there for everything. So even if they don't do anything, they're just basically signing the rights over to another person so that they can use it however they see fit.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so that's more than just, I thought you were just saying that they're
design wise, they draw the character and then the other people see the thing that they drew and they're like, oh yeah, I really am digging that, I want to buy that. And then they can do whatever, they can use it for whatever weird sexual fantasies that they have, or whatever project that they're working on, because they bought the rights to that character design basically by purchasing it. But
so that sounds to me like there really is something going on here. It's something really interesting and unique. This is more than just drawing cool stuff on the internet.
It just seems like character design to me.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
See, there's a whole industry around it, for video games, for anything. If you have the ability to visualize it and put it out, then that's a skill that is pretty useful, but it's not always lucrative.
No, yeah.
So you have to do it for fun instead of doing it for profit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of interesting. I mean, some of these people, especially outside the US, it's surprising the rates by which some of these people charge for top tier stuff, just because they're kind of in the OC world, rather than they could brand those same talents in more of a concept art direction or something, and gear themselves differently and make a lot
in
more.
Those industries, isn't it a lot of who you know too? The more you know, or whoever you know will help you get a job in somewhere else. At least that's always how it's been for me and stuff. So a lot of other art people, so and so I knew put it here, or they go to college and they have access to resources where they can get those opportunities, but not everybody can afford that, so they're kind of stuck at home, middle ground. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. Was that not to get personal? Well, I'll start with myself. I went to I got a bachelor in fine arts in illustration in undergrad, and I think I was higher up in the group of 90 people that graduated with me, but we knew it was only going to be maybe 3 people in the class that could get a job out of school, doing concept art or something even close to it. And I think it was less than that, because it was 2009 when I graduated, so it was deep financial depression period.
Yeah.
And then I guess I think a lot of people very quickly after a year or two, and it's understandable because people got to pay rent, everyone just kind of maybe dissipated. They kind of dissolved into this OC sphere where it was kind of no one's paying me to do stuff. I'm playing around with stuff now, and it's all kind of avocational as I do my day job, which has its place.
Reality sets in and they get discouraged, and which is fine. It happens, but it just kind of weeds out the people that are more dedicated to the craft than the ones that are not going to push past that. Right. It's more just another hurdle to get over.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know, like your buddy, Tim Lim, and Mark Pellegrini, I don't know if they ever wanted to do this full time starting out. I'm guessing not, from what my limited understanding of their day jobs. But like they're slowly kind of building an empire out of like what they do in their free time, you know. Which
I mean, like
cool.
Some people build cars, some people watch 20 hours of Netflix, but these guys just go to work and then they enjoy working and doing what they're doing on the comic, and that for them is the most fulfilling thing. And I think that's inspiring. It's in and of itself. But especially with so many people obsessed with like dollar points and stuff like that, instead of just working on enjoying the process of making the thing. And not making it something that you like grow to resent later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin, were you gonna say something?
I'm just the whole them building an empire. I was like, man, just out of their like spare time. I'm like, yeah, you know, we work like 40-hour weeks, and you know, I'm just like mass cranking out a book, you know, no big deal. We're probably gonna get like 40K to the Kickstarter. Another like maybe 10 or so through the Indiegogo. No big deal. And then we're gonna do another one because you know we're actually already done with this one and already like a third of the way done with the next. So like 3 months, we're launching again.
They're machines.
No big deal. Just they are cyborgs.
I envy that amount of drive and energy. I am not that. I'm like the opposite of that.
Well, but Carrot, you did a webcomic for years, right?
Yeah.
I did like some webcomic stuff. I did like little 3-panel comics for a little while. I did one called Georgie Porgy, and then I did one called Failcraft that was based off of Minecraft stuff. I did that one for like 7 years, I think. But it wasn't very many comics. It wasn't like an everyday update type of thing.
What's the one with there's like a guy and...
that one is a more recent one. That's like a project that I have doing. They're my original characters.
Yeah.
Vanna White.
That OC feel. Yeah.
Yeah. They're definitely something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. The PETA is a character that's based off a Dungeons and Dragons thing, but like the personality was so big, I couldn't just let it go. I had to like push to expand on her world, and everything about her I just enjoyed participating in. So I wanted to try and bring that to other people. And if I can translate it the way I feel, I think it would be successful, but I'm really lazy. So,
but that would be like your ultimate goal would be to kind of translate that into a story that you can actually print and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, I use them for references for, they're like muses. It's probably a better word for it, I think, because I'm sculpting one too. Like I like to try different things, but the image that I have in my head of them is what I use instead of using something like fan art from Disney or Star Wars for 100th time and make a video of that. I'd rather use my original character and come up with something new that somebody hasn't seen before.
I think Muse
but
is
the only way you're gonna draw people.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I think Muse is like, that's probably, I can't think of a better word for OCs than Muse. You know, they're like this repository for everything that you're kind of interested in and inspired by. I feel like you kind of embody that into a personal, I don't know, like vision of, at least that's the impression I get, is that's what people do, you know? Which I think is kind of interesting, and it's just it builds you up for a lot of success if you do tell a story with it. Is my impression, or it just becomes a space in which you can kind of. I think I don't want to like. I think daydreaming is a good thing. Oh, we got Lumpdrop. How you doing, Lumpdrop?
Hey, how's it going?
First time chatting with you. Yeah. Yeah, we're just talking about OCs. We got Carrot. We got Unstitched creator Justin Dutton, and I just think there's something interesting about having a place. It's like a sandbox group of characters.
Stop.
Oh yeah.
Stop. Nope.
What is that? A duck? What is
Sorry.
That?
Sorry.
Is that a duck or a phone? Because
It's a
tell me
duck
it's a duck.
and a phone.
Amazing.
It's both.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, like, because I've had to take a few months off of drawing Kyrie as I get Kyrie fulfilled.
I've been pronouncing it wrong this entire time. I'm an asshole.
No, like 9 out of 10 people say Kyrie, and that's fine. And I just think it's like I'm starting to feel like my characters are OCs now because I'm not putting them in stories for the as much as I was in 2019 and 2018. Like I'm just focusing on the business side, and then 2021 I'm thinking about trying to find ways I'm getting other artists to draw like 12-page stories with these characters. Yeah, and that starts to feel even more like an OC
I'm
world.
excited about that, especially some of the names.
Yeah.
But I know.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited too, and it's fun, but it's like
big baller moves.
Well, it's like I want to do the best of both worlds. I like the OC thing because I get it. I like the Muse side of it. But I don't. It's fun to make books and send them to people too.
Well, it's something that is a luxury of time, right? You don't really have time to sit and daydream about characters and all these different things because you're so busy focused being in the world that you're in right now. So it makes sense that you would be confused about that or not,
No, I'm confused.
Well, all right, so I envy you because I'm more or less just a writer because I can't draw consistently or whatever to make comics. I can just do like a simple picture, but comics is a different field. But when you are both writer and creator, and I also have this struggle as a writer is focusing on what stories you want to tell because you only have the time to do so much, so you have to kind of prioritize what am I going to do? And since you are doing 12 pages with other people, what am I willing to commission or delegate to others to do where it's still my story? I'm just not the one actually drawing it because, time is a factor.
Yeah. Well, I'm really just kind of, I don't know why you're saying you envy me because I'm entering your space. I'm going to your side of the playing field, where I'm writing stuff and then I'm finding people to kind of do the hard work after that. And that's, I don't know, that's a different kind of OC space in a way where you're just saying some of these characters I may never draw personally. I'm introducing new characters and so far it's only other people drawing them. And that's really, it's fun and it's interesting. And they're kind of muses in a way. There's stuff that I would have liked to have put in my own stories, but I don't have time or energy.
Oh, so you don't do your own art?
Well, I do. 2021. Yeah. Next year, I'm just paying people to do art while I draw and try and catch up.
Okay, because I was never quite sure about that. So, are you just the mainly the writer of Kyrie, or are you the artist too?
I'm both, but 2021 I'm going to do a bunch of a series of shorts, I guess, and slowly kind of build it into an anthology type thing that I can, again, I can print it, but it'll just be different artists jumping in and, taking on stories. Some of the stories I'm not even writing. I'm just kind of executive producing.
That's kind of how major comics pretty much got started, isn't it? People start their own original idea and then the company comes along and it gets big enough to where it can stand on its own, and finally you have to delegate out tasks to other people so that you can run the business efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, Tom McFarlane, he only did, I think, the first story arc to Spawn, and then almost everything's been delegated out. Every now and then he'll be oh yeah, I really kind of want to ink some pages. I'm not going to do the whole issue, but I'll do these 11 pages, and he more or less just kind of plots the story and this would be kind of a cool story, but someone else should write it. But this is the story, skeleton.
Yeah, and don't you think that's interesting? Like, I feel like the instinct for some people is to just say like, oh, he's lazy, he's just in it for the business now. But I think there's something really interesting how it just becomes this meta investment where it's kind of out there in the ether, and he I don't know, there's no one particular interpretation anymore, and yet the characters really exist.
I don't think it's lazy. I just think that you're growing. And so when you grow and you own the property that you're growing, there comes a time when you have to bring in more people to handle the workload because you won't be able to handle it all by yourself the bigger it gets. Yeah. You know, there's no way for you to be able to handle that kind of pressure like later on once you become a well-known name.
So the real question is, Matt, is when will you start your own toy company? You know,
I don't know how these people are doing this. They're insane. Even some of these people, they have like 50K campaigns, and they're talking about toys, and that just sounds like, I don't know. They're just they're trying to suicide themselves.
Yeah. See, I only went very simple, like handmade, limited number of teddy bears. I'm not trying to do a whole production thing.
Or like,
probably cheaper than
or like Tim Lim's like standees. Those make sense, right? Like,
oh my god, I've been looking into those, and I want to ask him exactly where he got them from.
What was it? I'm sorry, it garbled up when you said it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I really want to do that for not Unstitched, but like Americana Legends, the John Henry book. I think. Okay. Oh my god, those look so dope. I have 2 of them that Tim Lim has done, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Where'd you get these made at? I've Googled.
Actually, I found like a British company, and then I DM'd Mark about it, and I was like, are you guys getting it from these dudes? Because this is like all the way in England, and he's like, yeah, and they're not very cheap. Like. You're gonna have to spit like it's the cost is like $12. Yeah.
I mean,
well, you can only get
their campaigns their campaigns are reaching enough money where they can afford to do it, especially since they're not using the money to line their own back into the project. So like everything that they get, they put towards Black Ops and Common America back into their IPs that they're working on. So like it shows by the quality of the product that they put out. Yeah.
I want to touch on to notice some big jerk in the chat. Magnolia's BPRD. Well, we know Hellboy. Hellboy universe has been a lot like that. He has so many ideas for characters and stories, he ends up farming it out to other artists. Yeah, like I think there's something kind of cool about it's like you ascend into this kind of weird, there's like this meta universe where it's actually being explored and filled out by a lot of, talented people that you bring in, but I don't know. It's like you're just the George Lucas kind of hanging out and providing the original vision too.
It is your vision, so you're the one who picks the people. Like it's not like we'll say like Marvel or whatever, where Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created a lot of these characters, and of course Dicker as well. But at the end of the day, they want like, this person should write this character next. While with Mike, it's like, no, I have this story idea, and I'm gonna contact this person to see if they can do it. So their touch is still felt rather than just as a like an editor aspect.
No, I agree. Lumpdrop, you've got some OCs, don't you?
I do mostly original content.
Yeah.
I have some fantasy comic that I do. That's a botanical fantasy, I guess, because of I basically just made a fantasy story, but made everything plants because I'm into that sort of stuff.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, well,
botanical fantasy.
So
question, is it called the XMen?
No, it's called Chlorofields.
You
know, like chlorophyll, but fields.
I like it.
Nice.
Unfortunately, I found out a few years after I came up with that brilliant name that's actually the name of a farm or something in like Middle America somewhere. So I don't know if I want to step on their toes. You know, big farm and all. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, what about because you've got Shake Off the Dust too, right?
Like well, that's kind of a spin-off of that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. It's all kind of set in the same sort of micro universe sort of thing.
I'm gonna share screen. We're looking at our mug. Yeah, it's pretty stuff.
Oh,
my God, that is so gorgeous.
That's actually the main Chlorofields comic, the full color digital one.
Oh.
Yeah, the top one. Oh wait, no. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I got confused about my own damn book. Yeah, Shake Off the Dust was the first issue, and it was the one you're looking at. I forgot that Wanderers Into the Dust was the second one that I started.
Ooh.
And that's a traditional.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's really cute stuff. Like, what do you think? Like, are OCs something? You know, when not everyone who writes stories and creates characters for stories talks about OCs. That's like lingo for a particular corner of the internet, I think. Like, do you think there's something special about this sort of OC thing? Like, what are people doing with that? I just wanted to give you some space to kind of talk about that because you came in after we were already kind of chatting about it. So
yeah, sorry about that.
No.
Okay, well, to get to the point, well, I don't know. I don't want to come off too, high-minded or anything, but I kind of feel like they're kind of personifications of people's like feelings about things.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't
absolutely
I have kind of a it sticks in my craw a little bit when people talk about Mary Sue's and self-inserts because it's kind of my philosophy that you can't really write anything that isn't you. So because like even like say you're writing a story about World War II and Hitler, like even so you're not really writing the genuine Hitler or World War II. You're writing your interpretation of it. And so in the same way, especially in fantasy, which is kind of like modern mythology, it kind of personifies what's going on in someone's interior world, you know. So that's basically my approach, and I kind of like. I mean, I'll make fun of people's OCs when they're kind of stupid looking, but I still gotta kind of respect the fact that they have them.
Yeah, like there's nothing inherently. I don't think there's in principle any issue with self-insert characters because like that's the whole point of OCs. I think, at least normally, is to kind of explore yourself through kind of like filtering it into these kind of interesting. I don't know, the things that you're aesthetically interested in and feel like drawing. I think. And want to explore long term.
The way I see it is that writing a story is creating a problem, and so what you're making is a problem, and the problem you need to have solved, and so each character is just either a solution or something. It's a prop that works towards the solution, or it's a prop that works towards the problem, and so each character serves its purpose, and each one is sort of representative of how the person thinks about the problem that they're trying to solve with the story.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And did you find the transition from like OC world, like just, exploring extensions of yourself in the art world, like into like actually telling stories and putting up a whole, ton of content on Tapas? Did you find that transition kind of like, what was that like? Was that difficult, or did you find you had to kind of philosophically make some shifts in order to make that happen, or what was that?
Sort of. Well, the biggest revelation for me was that I found out that I'm not a very good writer. So I've been kind of going through a writing boot camp, trying to like improve that a little bit behind the scenes before I start doing issue 2.
Oh, neat. Yeah. Sure.
You know what I found that actually makes me seem a lot better is just getting a really good editor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because then she makes a lot of my mistakes just kind of fade out, and then no one knows. And they're like, "Oh, Justin, this seems so cool. This toy is so fun to read." And I'm like, "Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you didn't know how bad I messed up on the whole which there and there to use."
I know what you mean. I actually, as practice, I sort of started working on like some prose sort of things, and trying to write more with words, obviously, instead of pictures, which is what I'm used to. And so the first thing that I wrote was a 5-page mini story, and I showed it to like 5 people, and each person had something to tell me that I really kind of botched. And I was like, oh, like every single time I would send it to someone and say, "Hey, please read this really great story that I poured my soul into." And then the first thing that they would say was, "Well, I have some suggestions." And I'm like, "Oh crap." But you know, like I heard a while ago some really good advice from I don't know who it was. It might have been that guy Bobby Chu.
Oh yeah.
But he said something about always side with your critics, and so like whenever I get some critique, like the first thing that I do now is to suppress my impulse to be offended, and then kind of take what they're saying with like really seriously. And actually, in this first comic that I drew, I realized that I didn't know how to position speech bubbles at all, and I kept making these. What I was doing was trying to be all artsy and have like the speech bubbles flow in a really nice way, but it turned out that that the way I was doing it was kind of sloppy and really stupid. So people were kind enough to point that out to me and tell me, "Okay, I keep getting lost because your speech bubbles are like out of order." And so if no one had told me that, then I would probably still be doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think that's part of the transition out of OC world into telling stories and, you know, producing them and putting them on tapas or something is like suddenly it becomes a dialogue, I guess. There's another person in the production, and that's the reader, you know, and that's kind of a dance. You have to learn how to dance with them, I guess, and kind of let them lead sometimes. We got Reagan Lodge, my buddy from the Fire State.
Hey, what's
How
up,
you doing,
everybody?
buddy? Yeah.
What up, Reagan?
Oh, doing pretty all right. My connection's a little bit slow, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to hang around long. Like if you guys start roboting out too much, I might just see myself out. But
Okay.
I've been listening into the conversation so far. It's pretty cool stuff, kind of relevant.
Yeah, like don't you think?
Not to interrupt or anything, but just in case you hear Mexican birthday party music coming from somewhere, it's my house because there's one going on right outside the window. So if you hear that, let me know. I'll mute or something.
No, if I hear that,
Geez,
I'm going to be
actually,
quiet.
I could not hear anything.
Okay, good. All
Yeah,
right, so go ahead.
Well,
Sorry.
It's interesting that I think the whole point of having OCs is it's a monologue, I guess, and there's value to that, but it does become a dialogue where you're actually discussing and you're trying to make sure you're communicating well with other people, and that they can understand you and interact with you well, I guess. Like they understand exactly what you're trying to get across, and they're actually coming back to you with feedback and maybe helping, through that feedback to kind of push things along. That's not something that you normally get, I think, from OCs, but it is something you get from I don't know, actually producing comics, I guess, and I still don't think one is necessarily better than the other, but it's
like,
it's
you mean
harder.
it's safe? Like, it feels safe to make OCs versus like actually creating the book?
On top of that.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's definitely safer to
People
make
are more
OCs.
inclined to be nice about a drawing than they are about the writing of the story.
Yeah, because then I
If they
think
read it.
yeah, like
Yeah,
if
if they
you're
even read
writing
it.
something. Oh no, Right. We already lost Reagan.
My internet's
Okay.
just as bad. Everybody was roboting almost that entire time. I felt so bad I couldn't understand a single word any of you guys said.
Oh crap!
Sorry.
We had some good stuff too.
It's all right. I got some words. I'm piecing it together in my
First
head
she
right
said
now.
12. Then
I
first
feel
she
like
said
I am
14.
schizophrenic now.
Then she said the 12, and now it's today. I don't know
Yep.
how many damn problems.
Justin, I'm gonna mute you if that's all right. Just let me know in the private chat if yeah. I think there's some people yelling in the background or something. But yeah, like I guess when you give someone a story to read, you're asking them to actually invest and spend time and kind of walk through a
You're
narrative.
activating their third eye. They have to mentally picture what they're reading, and so it's different. You're engaging them on a different level.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's sort of like you're kind of asking them to spend time on something, and that's kind of a big commitment sometimes.
Yeah, it's a big ask, and so they're naturally going to have critiques. They're going to have feedback. They're going to.
I
have
wasted
things
my
they like
time
and
reading this shit when I could have been doing something else.
Yeah, it's the law of equivalent exchange.
Yeah, like no one's ever said that. Like I wasted my time looking at this one illustration you drew. Like no one's ever said that or will say that. But, yeah, it's just it's a different creature, So yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. It's interesting. So you're experiencing that, Lumdrop, and I guess you've been doing it. I'm gonna guess by the number of episodes here, you've been doing it over a year. You've transitioned into the weird, wild world of
You know what? The first issue I drew in 6 months, and that was probably God. Oh, geez, man, that was in 2016.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah. So,
Even more. All right.
The traditional one I was working on last year, and then my microns all dried up, and then I was too lazy to order new ones.
Oh, so these are traditional too?
No. These ones are all digital, but the top ones, the Wanderers, like those ones are all done with microns and Sharpie.
Oh my gosh, I do not understand. Like microns, that's like what your teachers give you when they want to be like, back in my day, we didn't have Photoshop. We had, if you wanted a line weight, you had to pick it out of this box of stuff, and you had to clean out the ink and. Yeah, mine gunked up after like 6 months. So.
Well, I've been pretty lucky with the way I've been able to keep things maintained. I don't know what it is. I'm just real lucky about that. I have a Nintendo that works.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah, you're one of those clean artists. So
I don't know. Maybe I am. But maybe I am, Matt. Maybe I am.
Kara, where's your I want to check out your webcomics.
My webcomics?
Yeah.
No. I mean, you can probably find Tailcraft, but it's ancient and it's really bad. Like, I made the front page of Reddit once and I was embarrassed. I was like, oh, Lord, this is the worst. I'm not a good writer at all. Like, it's really, really poor. It was also like 2007 when I did it. So it was I think from 2007 to 2014. Huh?
Carrot, no matter how bad
it won't be under
looks,
Carrot.
No. No matter how bad the art is, nothing is more embarrassing than being front paged on Reddit.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it looks bad. I've never thought, as I progress, I've never thought my art looks bad. I just always am able to spot what I need to improve on and then move on. So I don't get down on myself about it. It's more like, okay, this is the weakness. Okay, this is what we need to do to fix it. But I don't think they were bad for the time that I drew them. You know,
Yeah.
it's just if I hadn't improved since then, I'd be worried.
And what about
I
the
was looking for the link, but my internet is crap. So
what about the Dungeons and Dragons characters? PETA
well,
guy.
like for that, I have a bunch of different stories and a bunch of different like worlds that I have built up for myself, including like the Magical Girl Fight Club thing. And so I wanted to twine them all together, and I get caught up on the details a lot, and so I get too neurotic about details, and that really keeps me from writing. Because I'm like, okay, well, he took a breath, and it was like a long time ago. I think I renamed it Dragoon Heart or something like that. But it's like middle-aged women who can't come to terms with the fact that they're past their prime, and they resort to proceeding into like a magical girl like fight club type thing.
I'd read this.
People say that, but that's as far as I get as the concept.
Is this
I don't remember what I was looking. Oh, that's an old painting.
Oh.
Yeah, those are the three main characters. So Pete is like a halfling, and Alistair is the one in the middle. He goes by Al, and he's elf, but he's an indentured like servant. Like she bought him from somebody or something. And then the other guy's like a paladin, and PETA is chaotic. So she just does whatever benefits her, basically. So I wanted it to be a story about like sometimes you can't change people, but sometimes you do more. So I think about the morals and the themes that I want to have in my stories too much. Instead of just letting it happen organically. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know. I tend to think that's a good way to do it, because then you're never lost, I think, in your stories if you understand the sort of themes you want to play with.
It helps you like get back on track.
Yeah, I think it kind of.
Let's see if I can find these
too, because I feel like you can kind of like make a drawing, and then you can look at it, and then you're like, oh my god, that's smut on accident. And then like in editing, you can be like, oh, I kind of like that it did smut on accident, so I'm gonna sort of like exaggerate it a little bit. You can. It kind of works the same way with writing. I think you could like what you believe in, sort of, and your morals. They kind of come through subconsciously. So when you read it when you reread it the second time, you can be like, oh, this is a story about poverty, or oh, this is a story about like power politics, and then you just kind of exaggerate that aspect of it.
Yeah. And I guess like overall, like I think, hi, Mr. Eraser. Like I guess that's kind of some of the good fruit of the OC approach to things, is that that sort of I guess getting to know yourself better by kind of externalizing yourself into another character helps you, I think. If you do end up telling stories, you probably end up, at least in my experience, you end up understanding how to tell more impactful character-driven stories as a result because of that. You know, if you just start in and just say like, I grew up reading Spider-Man, and I just want to write comics because I read Spider-Man. Like I always think you're going to need something else. You're going to need to understand yourself more and understand what stories really mean.
Was it you who posted that or retweeted that thing that was like, you aren't the like I was born and I picked up a pencil, like that's not the beginning of your story? Somebody reposted that recently. I don't know if that was you or not.
Yeah, I think that was me. And I think I upset a lot of people because, and I get it, like I guess, you know, bit of an edgy
it's all they have sometimes. Like they hold on to something so tight. Like it got him through a tough time.
I really like the 90s XMen comic or cartoon. And that's what really set in my career was, oh boy, there's this cartoon.
Well, and it's like and I'm not hating on those cartoons. Like I'm just saying, like
I swore a lot in these comics because I thought it was edgy and cool. So
oh, Karen, I'm so disappointed.
Take this all with a grain of salt. And also the layout looked a lot better back in the day because I did it all custom. Smack Jeeves used to have an editable HTML, so I could go through and change everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that was like
the forward and the back button used to be pickaxes and diamonds, and the rating system was coal and diamonds. It was really cute and clever. Okay, but
awesome.
it looked like trash. It looked like it was made by somebody who only has like 90s level graphic design skills.
That'd be me.
Oh, this is really fun.
It's ancient too, because like unless you were playing like beta, these things are probably lost on a lot of people.
Yeah, you check back in on Minecraft nowadays, and it's like it's hard to recognize it. All the stuff people are doing with it now. It's so much more RPG driven now that
it's so insane.
Yeah,
my little niece likes to play, and my nephew does too. And so like they trying to get me back into it, and they're releasing like more and more updates all the time. It's like an evolving game. That's what I was thinking about the other day. I was like, these games aren't like just games that you buy. Like I paid $5 for Minecraft when it came out for the PC, and I haven't I bought it on PS4 and my Switch, but really like if I just kept it on the PC, that my money's worth. I keep getting updates for free.
Yeah, I like the you got a Yogscast reference there.
Oh god, yeah, this is
those guys
very painful to look at.
I think they got aren't they like they got like BTFO. I think didn't they get Me Too'd or something? Like,
yeah, they got Me Too'd. I was like, that didn't age well.
Oh my gosh!
These are.
Can you sell? Like, I feel like you could print these, like, because it's all it's creative interpretation. You know,
they're just satire. Situations that I had, and I like thought were really funny. Like, I laughed so hard that like I had to put it down somewhere so I'd never forget it. But yeah. Looking back on it, I was like, oh, good Lord. You can tell I was heavily inspired by LOL, lol random humor, and Invader Zim stuff. Yeah.
I think you could print this, right? And you wouldn't like Notch wouldn't sue you. I don't think.
I got retweeted by Dinnerbone at one point, but nice. That, I mean, it's there was actually a trend a lot when it first came out around this time where people were drawing like Minecraft webcomics, but a lot of them were just I drop you in on an island, you have amnesia, you don't know what's going on, just do the stuff. And I was just like, that's not my thing. Like my thing is like I like enjoy the game part of it and the collecting and the building and the goofing off and just world's your oyster type of stuff.
Yeah, I spent a couple years off and on Minecraft. Good days.
You know what? I have never played.
No kidding.
Oh man.
Well,
I other people play, and I was like, man, that's I guess Mega Bloks, the game. That's cool. I guess. I'd rather play Legos.
You having fun winning your Roblox, son?
Yeah, Dad. Yeah, it really becomes a thing, like so many things.
I was obsessed with 300. Like,
oh, nice.
Yeah, this is all ancient. Oh,
that far back,
painful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it got its legs when it had the community aspect where you can just kind of have a server and just kind of hang out with your friends and get on.
Yeah. Everybody has like hijinks, but now everybody does like Let's Play.
Killing folks on Friday.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. 2013, is that when that song came out? 2011, sorry.
Right, yeah.
All I know is he looks
I had
so
a
happy.
full date, so you knew the month and the date.
Yeah. Yeah. There were a lot of I guess this was kind of like the whole like webcomic scene. There were a lot of people. It's something I think about too. Like a lot was people. I got into webcomics, I guess, when they were getting really big in the maybe after
early
that.
2000s.
Yeah, early to mid 2000s for me, I guess.
Because I started drawing like comics and stuff probably in high school. Like I went through those phases where like loved like doujinshi and like yaoi stuff, and I would like write fanfics, and it's so dumb now that I think about it, but like I can't. Yeah, they're just, some of the ideas are recyclable. Like I've used them for other stuff too. And
sure. Yeah.
I've carried that over, but that's about as far as I've gotten with most of this stuff. And then like I got like asked to do stuff for College Humor, so that's the most notable thing that I did. But then once I did that, I was like, I don't really have any interest in doing this like as a job, you know what I'm saying? Like a career. Like it's a fun hobby for me and I enjoy doing it, but I wouldn't want to make it a job because I don't think that the stress would make me enjoy it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And
of
to
like
be honest,
managing everything.
There's so much to making comics that I think like the whole like doing this as a part, like a thing on the side is really underrated and undervalued, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's something I don't know if it's like our generation who was taught like you have to get your identity from your job, you know? So if you like
you're only as useful as you are successful. Like people stop becoming useful once they've got nothing else they can offer you, and therefore you can just dispose of whoever you want whenever. It's sad. At least that's what it feels like to me anyway.
I think it's better as a secondary thing anyway. You really don't want to spend all of that energy that you could be spending on your own thing on someone else's thing.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
All the creative people I know, like because I used to have a job in the toy industry, and so a lot of those people are like artists and sculptors, and they have to be in ZBrush and I guess
that's the stuff that I'm more interested in, to be honest. Like I love the designing aspect of it, like the writing, the comic part of it. Like sure, I have ideas for stories and stuff, but they're not something that I actively go and seek to pursue. Like I love sculpting. I love the feel of the clay in my hands, and I like making canes and jewelry and like physical, tangible objects that I can hold. Like I know printed comics are tangible objects, but I just mean like there's a different feeling I get from using my fingers to mold something versus using them to type. You know, the kinesthetic feeling is completely different.
Right, but you don't want to have all your creative energy being put towards something like making props for a stand for the Kingdom Hearts Maleficent model or something, because it drains you of your own personal energy for your own stuff.
You know what? I actually want to kind of segue into Alan Moore. I feel like that is actually the biggest lesson, and I feel like it's also a lesson that many of today's like comic creators just don't seem to. They grab the wrong lessons from Alan Moore. They're like, he's just bitter, and you know he partially is, but I understand why. He is, and I feel like a lot of creators are like, I'm gonna try to be galaxy brain with my story like Alan Moore, and I'm like, you know, you're trying to copy him, but you know, what about you know, Alan Moore? The reason why he is bitter is because he created things, and a lot of the great things that his name's attached to, he doesn't own. It's not his. Like Watchmen being the biggest. You know, now it should be, or you know, he wanted it to be his, and it was in the contract of like, you know, whenever y'all don't reprint it, it's mine. But you know, they reprint it every year to make sure it's because it's just so successful. Which is why he doesn't like corporate comics, and you know, you can kind of say that with almost any art field of. You know, the more corporate art stuff you do, the more drained you are to do your own thing. And you know, like really, the freedom comes from you know your own independence.
One of the things I thought was interesting that he brought up in his the recent interview was so he says it was largely my work that attracted an adult audience. It was the way that was commercialized by the comics industry. There were lots of headlines saying that comics had quote unquote grown up. but other than a couple of particular individual comics, they really hadn't. So he was kind of, whether it's Watchmen kind of making, adult superhero stuff, or maybe his work on Swamp Thing and stuff like that, and then later stuff. I guess he was kind of growing up comics for the American industry, but most stuff was still for kids, I guess, at least in terms of subject matter. And then he says, this thing happened with graphic novels in the 80s. People wanted to carry on reading comics as they always had, and they could now do it in public and still feel sophisticated because they weren't reading a children's comic. It wasn't seen as subnormal. So you see a lot of, what was it? Everyone talks about Mouse, the
Nazi
cat.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
That's all they remember from it. You're like, oh, what about the biting social commentary? Oh, no, it's just about Nazis? Okay. You didn't go into anything about the comic. You just saw that and, okay.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the same era, Japanese businessmen were commuting on their train ride to work reading Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Was pretty intense, though. I mean, not going to lie. When
That's right.
he ripped out his eye and licked
example.
it, that was pretty intense.
I'm at any moment, Matt ever crosses me, I'm going to send him to the Shadow Realm. Just, pay the jewel.
Did you play Yu-Gi-Oh, Matt?
No. I missed
okay.
that by a couple of years.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Oh, we got Gene. How you doing, Gene? Oh, I just threw him in. He didn't even know he was coming in. Yeah, but some more. I think at some point he calls superhero stuff. What did he use the word? Grotesque, because people tried to take a children's genre. Because basically, I don't know, for a variety of reasons, comics were all kinds of genres, and then they slowly shed all genres but superhero by the 90s. And then they tried to turn superhero into everything. And he has a lot of complaints about that. And he also recognizes how he contributed to that, I guess, by re-envisioning superheroes through Watchmen.
Isn't he a huge anti-capitalist, though, and a huge anti-corporate guy? It makes sense that he would feel that way because he already feels that way inside, politically. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he also is a wizard, so
he does look like a wizard. That's true.
no. He honestly calls himself a wizard.
No, isn't he ordained in the Church of Satan or something?
Yeah.
Not joking. Isn't he actually a pagan priest or something?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Isn't he actually Rasputin? Didn't he actually cause?
Keep going.
You never see him in the same room together.
I'll just keep saying yes. Yeah.
He is the Aleister Crowley.
Did he write the Killing Joke? Or was that?
Yeah, he wrote the Killing Joke.
That explains a lot. Yeah. I mean, that's that's the one, I feel as far as DC stuff goes, that's when, there's before
and after.
Yeah, right. That's the sort of stuff even as an adult you try to read, and it's very difficult.
Oh my gosh!
But it's just weird that he thinks it's grotesque, but I don't know what he thinks he was doing. He's the one that made superheroes for adults, and
he was doing it. Was he trying to do it as a performance piece as to why comics are grotesque now? So he made it purposely to almost cartoonishly blown it up to bizarre proportions.
I don't think he expected everyone to try to follow him, though.
Yeah.
I think he was just all right, well, he's doing this. And I mean, the Killing Joke was supposed to be a side story, not even canon. And people were like, "Oh, this is so great!" Yeah. So Barbara, that ability to walk, Killing Joke was so successful, making a canon. I'm sorry, Barbara.
Yeah. I get maybe he's just upset that he was kind of raging against the machine and him and his generation became the machine. So.
Well, I'm thinking of it in terms of like when, like, think about like Gremlins 2. They asked Joe Dante to make a sequel to his widely popular film, and he didn't want to make it. So he made like a movie that was protesting it, kind of. So like they wanted him to write a comic book that was a superhero comic book, but he wanted to like point out the flaws of it. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like or like just turn it around and like amplify it. What he saw in the medium.
Yeah, I mean, people have said that about Rian Johnston's Last Jedi movie, and where it's kind of like I'm determining that the genre's dead, and now I'm going to determine how to resurrect it, kind of thing. Maybe
I'll bring it back because I'm the one that killed it.
Yeah, and that's a weird thing to do. That's. Yeah, much rather be reading stuff like this.
Oh gosh,
it's so cool, so fun. Yeah, Carrot, I think you should be. You got to put something out, even if it's like a little. You could do the 3-panel thing again. People print those, and it's physical.
Yeah, I mean,
you can hold it in your hand.
I've been around long enough where I've seen Penny Arcade and like Mega Tokyo and them all go to print. So it's not like I haven't known about this self-publishing thing for years or anything. Mm-hmm. It's just that I'm really lazy and I've always been so preoccupied with like working, spending my energy like working for people who think you're a number type of thing. So that kind of kills your creativity for a long time. And then now, since I am not working, I spend that time trying to find that again, like find that fire and that drive, that rekindle the passion for the project that I want to work on. But it's really hard to do when you're really lazy. Or you develop bad habits, basically.
I find it easier. I find it easier to start drawing on work days, actually, after I've gone.
Oh, yeah. It's so much easier to draw at work. Ask all of my.
No. I mean, after you get done with work and then like you come home and you're like still you're feeling productive still, so you start drawing. It's so much easier than on Saturday, and you're like, oh, okay, I'll have breakfast.
Oh yeah, I want to take a day off.
Yeah. See, after work is a double-edged sword. Do I go straight to the laptop? Because if I go straight to the laptop, then I can be productive. But if I'm like, all right, well, let me sit on the couch for 5 minutes. Then that 5 minutes goes to like an hour, and then I'm like, well, now it's time for dinner. Now it's time to go to bed. Now it's.
By the time I'm ready to draw, somebody's requiring me to, use my time for their thing. Okay, can you go to the store for me? Can you do this? Can you do that? Okay.
Yeah.
And they call that the gopher. I'm the gopher.
Gopher.
I tend to find like collaborative. I don't know, just like hanging out in this kind of indie community Twitter sphere is kind of collaborative in a way. But if you can find a project, even if it's a loose sort of thing, where you've got people who you can trust that they're motivated, I guess, then they have momentum that continues to go along. And in order to keep up with them, it kind of gets you to stay motivated. But
what I do is when I want to find motivation, I just kind of pull up like either Mike or Tim's Twitter. I'm like, damn it, they're making another comic. I'm falling behind.
Yeah.
But that's not my life goal either, though. So I'm not like putting that at the forefront of my vision quest.
Yeah.
What is the
and we should
destination of your vision quest.
To live comfy and be max relaxed. Like I'm not trying to. I'm not a striver, dude.
All right. That's
I set very achievable goals.
Yeah.
So like beanbag chair and a bowl.
A bowl of cereal.
Bowl of Lucky Charms.
A bowl of
Sure. We'll go
yeah,
with a bowl of cereal.
Like mostly I just want to do like crafting stuff. Like I said earlier, I just like enjoy making things physically. I don't really enjoy like thinking too much about it. I feel like if I'm drawing or if I'm writing, I'm thinking way too much about it and overthinking it.
You ever think about making bowls?
Yeah, actually.
Oh, okay.
But it costs a lot to get started to do glass work, so I ain't got that kind of bread though.
But it costs a lot less to pack them.
But this. Ba-dum-bam, ba-dum-bam, bam.
I don't know.
So
All I want this kind of energy. I don't know what you guys.
Oh, I saw that earlier.
Oh my gosh! Hungry for some.
She's doing it to Gangnam Style, which is like I don't know why it's even funny. Yeah, it's like Opum Gangnam Style.
This is like in Korea.
Goes, I think so. I think so.
You know what?
Man.
I know, it's like this is late stage capitalism.
That's pretty epic.
I just love Asian culture. Like,
yeah,
the greatest nerd stuff seems to happen over there.
Yeah. I mean, talk about comics. Like, they figured out. I mean, honestly, everyone but America figured this out, but especially in Southeast Asia, they figured out that, you know, comics can be anything. It's just a medium, you know, and you can do
just
anything
like over
with it.
here, they have their mainstream stuff. Like they have their own niche type of markets that don't get recognized as globally as like Marvel or DC type of stuff. But like the independent scene has always been around. So
yeah.
It's just that it's more magnified now because it's a market. It's an entertainment market. And I think that as we progress as a country, we're going to be driven more towards entertainment. What do they call that? Exports. So like people seem to see that as like an easy cash flow, but they don't realize how hard it is, how much work it takes to go into it.
Yeah.
Gotta corner the VTuber market, man.
Right? It's like, am I a woman who's over the age of 30? Can I 3D model? All right, time to be a VTuber.
Yeah, you just hire someone who knows Blender or something, and then get someone to rig it.
Yeah, I want to learn Blender. I want to do like 3D printing stuff. That's so cool.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'd like to make like puppets. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Puppets and like stuff like that. Just deciding life goals on the whim.
Bring back puppet shows. Come on.
I mean, if you ever heard, like I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, but like Kazoo speak, the creator of like Amulet, he's like, yeah, you know, I did movies for a time, and then I was like, I'll just do some comics, and I was like, you know, way to just change a life goal on a whim. He's like, well, you know, I did comics in like high school and stuff, and you know, I kind of like interned with Extreme Studios, but then I was like, I went to college for movies, and I went to movies, and then I was like, I'll just go to comics, just life whim.
Hey man, I can dig it.
Yeah, I was like, man, you just make it seem so easy.
He's not a talented artist. He's talented at efficiency.
Yeah, yeah. My favorite thing about that interview, by the way, was him being like, everyone thinks I'm just so straight-laced and, you know, chill and soft-spoken. And it's like, come on. You're the epitome of that. And he's like, oh, I was actually very punk rock, you know. I played
yeah, very ska punk.
Come on. Know yourself. No, but it was cool. Like, you know, he's very motivated. Like, he's the consummate. I guess he just knows how to produce. You know, like he knows how to write and how to draw. But more than anything, like the thing that I think he inspired a whole generation of people, including me. Like, I really got into stuff because of his Flight anthologies from 12 years back. Was that he knows how to like organize people, I guess, and do the whole business thing and do tours with schools and kind of, I don't know, like be like a cheerleader for the industry and run that side of it. I think he makes a lot more money just doing talks than he does with these books. And I think that's weird.
Where he's at.
It's unusual, but it's commendable.
I think that's unfortunately it's a weird thing that like again, like as you said, Korean, well, not just Korean, but like Asian culture, kind of like they understand like manga and comics as it can be anything.
Yeah.
And Scholastic is killing it, and as you said, like Kazu's making really good money, and he's a really big like champion of comics in schools and using that, and everyone only points to Scholastic like, look how much they're making, and then they go, yeah, but we don't actually talk about their stories. Well, we'll ignore that and then go superheroes. And it's like, no, like you were starting the conversation, but you have to understand and continue it and understand that comics can be more. Like, look at what they're doing over there, and don't just go, oh, that they're making good money, and then turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah. Well, I guess as more people, after the whole like exodus of people out of the local comic shop scene, and people kind of finding, I guess kind of frontiering it in the indie sphere, along with us. Like, I think it's, I don't know. It's like there's like a creative influx. There's a market influx, but there's also like, I don't know. Like I don't think you could write superhero stuff 5 years ago and sell it on Kickstarter, but you can now. And I think it's because of that sort of exodus climate, where everyone's like, I used to be able to get stuff and I can't now. And now I'm going to go on YouTube and find people doing interviews about, and get to know these creators because I can't go to
the comic book store.
Yeah. Or I can't even go to these, the cons anymore because they're too expensive, or now they're all shut down, or
I stopped going like a couple years back because they were just getting too crowded. Because when I first started going, like there was maybe like a couple hundred people there, but now there's thousands, and it's just intolerable. Like I can't be around that many people without having a passive panic attack.
Yeah.
So, I would always have like a table at the artist alley, and that was fun, and like hanging out with the different like people there. But the actual conventions themselves.
Oof. That's always been my dream. Like, I hate to say it because I know that dream. Like, it'd be so dumb. I'd waste a lot of money doing it now if they ever come back. But I don't know, sitting on the other side of that table, just being on the other side, like instead of walking down Artist Alley, being able to sit in Artist Alley. Just, I don't know. To me, that always felt like you've made it, even though I know a lot of people were going.
All you had to do is. Oh man, I used to complain so much because people would start coming in with like crafts and stuff and start selling in Artist Alley because like literally anybody could purchase a table. Like it's $300 or whatever for a 6-foot table, and you have it for 3 days. It's just an exhibition area, and so like literally nothing is stopping you from coming. And like they don't have quality filters. They don't check for like, oh, is this person known? Is this somebody who like has a following? It could be literally anybody like going to promote their stuff. It's just an exhibition.
You know what? So. In North Carolina, there is one con going on. It's called like Mask On Con. Yeah.
There's a convention in November here, Matt.
What? Are you serious?
I'll tell you about it later.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's like at one of the Hyatts.
Yeah, see, there's like a few small cons, like a video game con, still scheduled for like February, but they do some comic stuff as well, and I'm like, I might see and contact them Monday about trying to get a booth, but I'm also like,
That was a little bit awkward because of all the like Corona stuff, but like once that clears. Like starts passing, everybody's gonna go back into their old habits of going to cons. So I just waited out and built up an inventory.
Yeah. Got to get that swag.
Just put $25 towards stickers or something every month.
Yeah.
Save up, stock it up.
Did those really? They do sell.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm.
Well, I mean, I can't say that my information is very up to date actually, because it's been like 2 years since I've even known anyone who's done a table.
I just know what I used to do. Like, I don't really pay attention to other people's stuff too much when I go. Like, sometimes I'd be like, oh, that's a really cool display rack. Where can I get one of those? Or like stuff like that. But yeah, the actual, I forgot where I was going with that. Sorry. Something about Artist Alley.
Maybe things that you found that sold better than others?
Oh, yeah, stickers. Like, I sold a lot of stickers when I made them. And I just printed them out myself on my thing. I didn't even order them in. Like, a lot of people started going to professional printmakers and they started moving towards acrylic keychains and that kind of stuff. And I was just like, well, I don't have the time or the money for this. So I'm going to wait till it becomes cheaper and then I'll do it.
What, do you use like a Cricut or something?
Oh, I cut them out by hand. This is before there was Cricut. So... or because like a lot of the stuff we're seeing a lot of increase in like makers and stuff because it's becoming more affordable to create things like 3D printers and mold make like the vacuum sealing mold makers and stuff like that, like a lot cheaper, and they can make them more affordable for everybody, so you have like an influx of people. I feel like that's where you're going earlier a little bit with that. You have a lot of people coming into this hobby now because they don't have anywhere else to go. So now it's like a flood of new people who don't maybe know quite what's going on, but they want to participate. Does that?
Yeah. No, yeah. There's a lot of people. I think they're still trying to figure out how to connect. They're still trying to figure out how to plug in, I guess, the right way, you know?
Yeah, but all the tools are available to them. So they have like literally nothing stopping them other than their financial ability to go into it. So and it's definitely not as bad as it would have been, because like maybe like 10 years ago, it would have cost 20 times as much to do something like you could do today, just by how fast they're revolutionizing the technology market for these things. And like making stickers like took time. Like we had to print it and buy ink, or I could just order 100 of them online, but I didn't have access to the internet, as like I always had shitty internet. So yeah,
that's Florida for you. Yeah,
I just did everything myself because I didn't want to rely on anybody else to do it.
Yeah. Geez, well, man, I'm gonna have to bother you in the DMs about this con, because that's kind of even if it's a complete waste, it would still feel like a success, you know.
I think it's only one day.
Yeah. Okay. Even better.
Yeah, it's only one day, so it's not even that
pressure.
Long.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I mean,
I think it was like $80 for a table or something. It was really cheap. Yeah. Because like it's a small thing. It's just a small local thing. I'll talk to you later about it.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in Florida, in and around. I don't know how close they are to us, but there's a lot of people in Florida that we see.
Oh, yeah.
We go. So yeah. Well, I guess that's we've gone over, was like an hour and a half. This has been a really fun chat. I knew, like, you know, you start with one topic and then you kind of go wherever you feel like. But
I like the conversation style a lot. Like, even with people talking over each other, as long as you're not like trying to do the radio thing where you wait and pause, and I get so nervous at that. But conversation style hangout stuff is always way better to me.
Yeah. And I'm telling other people, like, they don't want to just enter this sort of space and just do this sort of format because they see a lot of other people doing it. But my impression is that, like, it's so different depending on who is participating, you know? So if your personality is different from everyone else's, and chances it is, like, you're going to have a very different kind of chat, which I think keeps things very original. Like, you don't have to do these overly processed. Like I was telling Tyler from Draw and Talk, like, just hang out and have your silly goose time with people, And because it's you, it's
Yeah.
going to be different. Your brand is not going to be like everyone else's, you know?
And everyone's vibe is different. Like
Yeah.
like my personality slightly changes off the vibe of the chat. Like this is a very laid back, chilled. Then like last night, you know, on like Richard Embry's chat I was on, we were drinking, so there was a lot more loud,
Yeah.
rambunctious style.
I wish I could do those.
conversations.
Yeah.
Gives you
I'm not
Yeah.
a strong enough personality to combat that, so I know when to like fold them. I know when to call them and know when to fold them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Gives you a little more perspective too, but talking to someone A and B conversation instead of hatting them on Twitter all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And there's different tonality too, because like a lot of the way I say things or how the inflection that I'm implying something isn't necessarily how you would read it or interpret it online.
Hmm.
So I just like automatically read everything in like that Ben Stein voice. Just to not color it with my perspective. Like it's different when you're talking to somebody vocally, like you can hear that emotion and that the sincerity or the lack of integrity. Like you can hear that stuff if you're like
You know what?
actively
There's no bond
listening.
for sarcasm.
Hmm.
Like on
exactly.
Twitter, you feel like a need to express yourself just right in that 120 characters or whatever. Here, you can just kind of relax and chat.
Well, that's
yeah.
because like Twitter, you know, because you're so limited, it's like, oh, well, someone's angry because they definitely took that as me being a smartass or sarcastic, and I wasn't meant to like really poke the bear or anything. You just kind of misread that.
Right. Like in my head, I'm like, oh, you probably just read that in your own voice, and that's how you would say this. And so you're getting pissed off because you would say something like this to somebody. And if you were the other person, it's convoluted. But yeah, I think that I understand.
Yeah. My goal is hopefully to be weird enough on the internet that no one ever takes me seriously, so they're never offended even when they disagree.
I don't know
Right?
about weird. I think if anything, I'd use the word esoteric.
Esoteric.
Yeah, or that.
Ooh,
So
I
they
mean,
don't
who else do you see posting memes in cuneiform?
Well,
You know, who else is also going to be like,
in the Egyptology.
you know, like today, on this day in like 338 BC of the Byzantine Empire. I'm just saying, you know, if you didn't know, this emperor took over this land. Fun fact of history, Matt Cross.
That's very flattering. That's also probably me being a coward by knowing that I can express myself and no one will get me, so they won't yell at me or cancel
For being
me.
wrong.
Yeah.
Or nobody pushed back.
Like, wow, this isn't topical. This is the opposite of topical. I'll just move on.
Hey, so did you know that like South America had its own version of Napoleon? Would you like the story about that? Let me tell it anyways.
Yeah, I just found out about Simón Bolívar. He sounds like a cool dude.
You know what? Like Napoleon is actually one of my favorite dudes in history. And I feel kind of bad about the whole like Napoleon complex because I'm like, that's just like, you know, the phrase like a short, angry little man. And I'm like, he's taller than me though. He was like 5'8".
Yeah,
and I'm like 5'4".
Gonna laugh at them, the little people.
Yeah, he gives manlets a bad name, and he wasn't even a manlet, so I don't even know how that happened.
Sweating.
He was
I
actually
was
like
thinking
tall
about
for his
bandits,
time.
but
What I tell Justin all the time, you can't spell manlet without man, so nothing to be ashamed of.
That's true. Or
There
let.
we go.
oh man. Speaking of manlets, I just watched that episode of Star Trek where all the men and the women roles are reversed and all the men are like really short. And it was just like, oh man, this must be paradise for somebody. Like, just all the women are in charge and the men are wearing like holographic tunics.
Aren't you like 6'7" or
You know-
something, Carrot? I feel like that's in the lore. Is that? I'm just adding inches until you.
6'7", 6'10",
That's
Cool.
as tall as Mewtwo.
7 foot tall.
Nice.
I heard that she can touch the top of the apple tree without climbing it.
Yeah, but
I
she has
doubled
to-
the apple tree.
She has to crouch down farther to pick up the carrots.
Beautiful. Well, that's probably a good place to end it. On a poem.
I killed the stream.
You did it. The death
She
knell.
wears clouds for hats.
Well, thanks for hanging out with me, guys, because I've been packing books all day and I needed a break. And it's fun to chat about something that I feel like a lot of people, we don't chat directly about OCs. Like, what are they? So it's kind of cool to do that. But yeah. Well, I hope you guys have a good night. And thanks, everyone. We've had most of it was about 5 folks hanging out with us. So appreciate that.
Yep.
Reagan Lodge.
Or
And,
Gina. Give us
you
some-
know, since we're saying goodbye, if you can, and if you like the conversation, what up, other hand? Matt has an awesome book on Indiegogo. It's in demand. He's packing books now. I'm pretty sure he
Oh,
ever
geez.
printed. He's
Please
still
don't
selling
buy
them.
my book. I got so many books.
Buy it.
You're not
Buy
liking
it.
it. Subscribe.
My hands are bleeding.
Look at him. Look at him. So if you
There's
like his
odds
book,
to buy
or if
his
you
book.
don't like his book and you just like, I
Hate
want to
buy
switch
it.
a Matt, buy
You
it
should
anyway.
buy 100 books.
Hate
If
buy
you
it.
want to make me happy, buy
Hate
Unstitched.
purchase.
Purchase 100 books
Yeah, buy this beautiful book by just
at the most expensive tier.
yeah.
Or if you want to give me some money, but I'm not actually getting money, I do have like $100 a children's hospital bundle, and the money
Mhm.
of the profits and the books go to St. Jude's. So boom.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
a
like,
great
hey, I
one.
want to donate
That's
to
a cool
the kids. There we go.
Yeah,
But if you also want to grab yourself a copy, I guess you can buy it as well. That'd be dope.
I'm stealing
We're
that.
getting
for
ready for the
future.
printers.
I think I'm gonna send a box anyway. I'm gonna figure out who you're sending it to, and I'm probably gonna take that route as well. But it's nice. It's nice to
One
give
of these
other people an option
Unstitched.
to buy that, because then it's like people want an opportunity to donate. So
Or if you're like, man, this book looks really, really dope, go to your local comic shop, because for like $80 we have a retail bundle where they can get 6 books, 3 of each copy, 6 mini prints, and you can even be like, hey, this dude's so crazy and confident because he's a very cocky first-time creator that he's even adding buyback. So if you
Yeah,
can't
that's
sell these books because you think they're crap, it's already sold. He'll buy it back from you.
I love that. Yeah, risk free. See, this is what's so awesome about crowdfunding's been around for like a decade, online at least through Kickstarter and stuff. But there's never been this much like cross pollination, like everyone learning. Like it's just insane, accelerated. I don't know, market creativity.
Yeah, marketing is what I was thinking.
Yeah, like it's never been this crazy. It's such an exciting time to be.
The tools, man, are available. That's the thing. Is
Yep.
before it was harder for people to get their hands on it, and now everybody can publish stuff way easier with the help of, because I just remember seeing ads for what's that one D&D comic? It's like Looking for Group, people like that who would print their own books and stuff. They didn't have Kickstarter or Indiegogo to help facilitate the storefront aspect of it or to organize it or anything. They did it all themselves through the interests of their readership versus now you build up a readership from different areas versus just the forum, before you just had PBS and word of mouth and doing the con circuit. And then you get into the actual part of online access, and you have all these tools that people are coming out with to make it way more easy for everybody to get in and on the action.
Yeah, business tools and
exactly.
marketing tools and all that. Absolutely.
That's really what I wanted to learn when I went to school. Was the business side of things. That would have been so useful.
Yeah.
Stefan
Man,
over here said that you should create 10% and advertise 90%.
Yeah, I remember that.
I love me.
That's
some
why I
Stefan
don't create
moment here.
things, because I don't want to put in that much effort into the marketing.
How dare you?
And
I
that
know, I'm
is
lazy.
why you have some crowdfunding creators who are pretty much more YouTubers.
Hold on,
I just need to marry rich enough so I can afford to hire somebody to do it for me.
I also
Work it
want
out
to marry
eventually.
rich enough.
Or win the stock lottery.
Oh, no,
Very
it went
much also
quiet.
I can't.
You're dead air. You're precious dead air.
I was trying to find this meme.
There you go.
Just remember that. That's
right
to all of
there.
us.
Yep.
No, it's fine. You can do whatever you want with art, you know? Daydreaming is great. So I hope no one takes that. That's not the take home, is that you're not allowed to daydream.
Yeah, and don't think that just because somebody's talking about something doesn't mean it's necessarily negative. Even if it has like a negative downside, the intention isn't necessarily negative. You know? And like we talk about these things and people are so infatuated with debating, and I think they focus a lot on the negative parts and don't focus enough on the concepts themselves, you know, what it isn't versus what it is.
Well, I think, and you know, this might sound slightly debating since I just said, well, you know, I think, but more people, I guess, you know, when they come on a live stream, they're expecting not a discussion, but a debate. And I think that is a slight
for entertainment
mistake.
versus.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
you know,
sometimes
if
I'm looking for
I
it.
feel like if Matt debates, he's just gonna debate history. Be like, well, let me tell you about like why this emperor was better than this one. All right, Julius Caesar went crap, and here's why.
Yeah, I mean, it can just be a discussion. It doesn't have to be a debate that's been moderated by like 20 people, and then everyone's got to stop somebody else and back and forth. And like a conversation is a living thing. You have it between two people, and it evolves. A debate is just two people talking at each other. You know, and I like when I'm working on something, that's the kind of stuff that I like to listen to. It's not really the stuff that's like sometimes it has a time and place. Okay. Like don't get me wrong. It definitely has its purposes, but like, it's not the only thing that should be pushed. And that's like a corporate thing, right? They're like, okay, so this is what sells. We got to push. And then they stop revolutionizing or stop talking about the things that are what got them there in the first place. The little ideas that, you know, revolutionize an industry. Then it gets pushed under the rug.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, debating is interesting when it's something that's like relevant, but like,
not everything has to be a debate. That's
right.
Sometimes you can just talk about what you think about OCs.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Was everyone else expecting this to be a confrontation?
Who? No. I just think that is an expectation that people do.
Yeah. I mean, I think I put drama. I think I put hashtag drama in the preview image.
Yeah,
but it's like
somewhere.
I think the real, it's like the magic factor of what's happening nowadays is the interconnectivity, like the fact that we can go on live streams together and just kind of chat about stuff. Where now there's just so much of a human angle that the forums weren't able to tackle, you know?
Right. It just evolved. It's an evolved BBS.
Yeah.
Now, because like it could just be us four hanging out, and then everybody else in the world is invited to chime in if they want to. You know?
Yeah. And it's taking the best of what we got from the cons too, you know, where before was that straight? What did you just drink? Was that vodka? Are you filling alcohol bottles with water? I'll just move on. How about
Did you? No, wait, hold on.
Okay.
No. Did you know your webcam was on?
Yes.
That wasn't intentional then, huh? Just let me not so slyly bring it into the camera focus.
Well, I mean, no. Well, I'm just like, I'm kind of sitting in my writing area, and then I'm like, man, the booze is right there. I'm kind of thirsty. I don't want to go to the kitchen. Yeah. Let me, I guess, just drink some peppermint schnapps.
The shit out of my mouth.
And then I'm also like, man, I think this might be like. It just dawned on me. Am I really I might be an actual writer because I have alcohol right by my laptop. Hanging weeks away.
And that's how I know that I'm not a writer, because I only have an empty alcohol.
That's how I know I'm an artist, because all I got next to me is
Oh yeah, it's Saturday. I might have to sweep the empty beer bottles to the side of the room today.
Just swipe them to the left.
These are the jokes, guys.
Maybe my mom will come and clean it up for me. I wonder if I would have to pay her.
Do you provide insurance if you pay her?
I'm not going to pay for someone cutting themselves on my broken glass.
Not even your own mother?
She knew the risks.
She brought me into this.
I didn't even want to be born. She knew that.
Yeah, I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask to be born, but I asked her to clean up my beer bottles. It's the law of equivalent exchange.
That is the last season of Full Metal Alchemist.
How many times will we try to wrap it up?
My bad.
It's just that each of us is just so naturally charismatic that none of us wants the stream to end.
Is that one? Yeah.
I'm just hanging out. I'm just chilling. But I felt like Matt needed to go and do something productive. I felt like that's where that was going.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at these books that still need packing is the only issue. I'd pack on stream, but I'd have to run around the room while I'm doing it. Yeah.
What, you don't have everything on the couch like Adam Post, and you're just like do.
Well, my problem is I over swagged it for this campaign. Last time, I'm just giving everyone gets it's like communist campaign. Everyone gets the same swag. They're all getting a lot of it, and it's breaking my back. The first campaign, I gave a lot of time-based campaign stuff where it's you back in day 1, you get 2 bookmarks. You back on week 1, you just get 1 of those bookmarks and all that sort of stuff. And that was hard to keep up with. So I thought, well, everyone gets the same stuff this time. But let's upgrade all the stuff, and let's take Carrot's bookmark that she drew, but let's laminate it and put gold on the back, and
oh man, that's gonna be so fancy.
Round the edges, and you're getting some.
Matt is doing so much fancy stuff. I am jealous.
He showed me the fancy bookmarks. They look really cool.
Yeah. It's fun, but it's
are you trying? Is it where you cut out half of it so you can use that to slide on the page, or is it you can just detach it and use it like a figurine, like a paper doll type thing?
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that I gave up on that.
Okay, that's a different.
Because that was me buying a Cricut and saying, what
can I do with this to make it worth it?
Yes, and then realizing I got to make 300 of them, and Cricuts take it's it can be 10 minutes. It's got to cut it's got to score it 6 times to cut through your stupid page, and and then I think I made 10 in that particular style. Basically for you guys, I was going to do a 2-layered thing where the character was sitting raised up off the background. So it's kind of 2.5D bookmark, which I thought was nice. It had, it gives it extra touch. It was fun, but then I made 8, and then I think 4 of them
You're like, I'm out of my depth.
Yeah, it I placed her kind of crooked, or I like had like a wrinkle on the knee, and I didn't realize till I already laid it down. I realized, I'm gonna be throwing away, like I'm gonna make 300, and there's gonna be another 300 in the trash of ones that I didn't lay down right. So instead of just laminating so they look nice that way and putting gold on the back. But it means everybody's books takes like 15, 20 minutes to pack, all things put together. And that's,
worth
it. What is that? Like, that's 3 an hour. So it takes a long time. But it's what we do for our fans.
I'm going to use like slightly slave labor and like invite my sister over and be like, hey, so.
Do you want to borrow my mom?
Come on down. Oh, since you're here.
Your mom is very useful.
Exactly. Like just media mail her over because I can't pay for like express shipping.
Don't do first class. That's too much.
Classes. Wait, never mind. I was going into a joke, but then it failed right away.
That's
Class
the
is
joke.
the last thing anything has to do with my family.
That sounds like
There's
my
a joke in
family.
there somewhere. I'll get back to you in DMs. I'll slide into your DMs with my fancy jokes.
That's the 2 a.m. callback with, I should have said this.
Hey, are you awake? You called me. It's like 3 a.m. Yeah, but I remember the joke now.
Man, so it takes you 15 minutes to pack one book? Is that what you said?
Well, you gotta. I mean, that includes.
Are you shrink wrapping them?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, like they go. I slip them. I wrap.
Are you doing a mailer or are you doing a box thing?
I got a Flex and Seal. This Scotch tape brand thing where they it's bubble wrap and it has a micro Velcro on one side, and so you just kind of run. You take 2 sheets of bubble wrap and you stick them together over the book, like a sandwich of the book, and it seals with the micro Velcro around the edges. So, and it doesn't stick to your book; it just sticks to itself.
So it's not like the cellophane ones that were like just the plastic sleeve with the glue across the.
I looked into those. I know the Rags team does those. Those, I just think they're like normal comic book sleeves. Like they sell them at Hobby Lobby and stuff like that. Oh, the see-through stuff. But, yeah. Well,
yeah, like the cellophane type packaging things.
Mine are literally. Yeah. Well, I was doing the Gemini type thing last time, and this time I'm doing this, but also I think they're in sandwich bags. I mean, they're in Ziploc.
Are you shipping them out? Are you shipping them out in like the little mailers, or are you shipping them out in like a box?
I'll show you a picture. Not a box. It's I'm finding this is a good way that you can ship posters and books together in the same package, the same media mail package.
And you printed your own posters, correct?
Yeah, and I also invested in a what do you call it? Inkjet printer. So that's like it folds over like that rounded edge.
Oh, okay, I get it now. I was thinking of like you're putting the books in the bubble wrap like sleeve thing and then putting it in a mailer. Like that's what I thought was like a.
Oh yeah.
I really like the I guess the band is what you'd call it.
Yeah, I sticker.
Seeing a lot more campaigns starting to do that now. Do custom tape.
I think they're all going to Sticker Mule. It's pretty cheap, and they just reduced their prices by like 20% or something on the tape. They did like a giveaway one Friday. They were like, "We're thinking of a number between 1 and 100," and I was like 67, and it was 67. So I bought $100 worth of custom tape. Which in hindsight was dumb because I can't sell tape at a con, but I could have bought $100 of stickers or magnets or all their other swag. So I can only use it for
you know what
campaigns.
though? That tape. Yeah, but I mean, you're planning on doing more campaigns, so congratulations.
Okay, so what you do is you take the tape and you lay it out on some parchment paper or like some like wax paper, and then you cut them into strips and you cut the characters out and make stickers out of the tape.
Ooh, that's fun.
Look at her MacGyvering stickers out of tape.
Yeah,
this is one of the great things about cons is there's so many like crafty solutions that people come up with that I think are really fun.
I'm just that person who like has to think of something, even though it's not like a business that I'm outsourcing it to. That's where I like to get creative, is like the actual behind the scenes production part of it. It's fun.
And figuring out how it can scale so you can actually do 300 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
The best part is that when you sell the stickers at conventions, you can mark them up like crazy to like $8, $9, $10 a piece.
Wow. Are you serious?
I never got that crazy with it. That's insane.
Yeah, I used to go
It'd have to be like 5-inch stickers for me to pay $5 for them. They'd have to be huge.
Kara, I used to go to Designer Con every year, and since it was like back when it was like a really small thing, and now they have like people from Bob's Burgers in it. And but like even back in the old days, like when it first started, they were selling stickers for like tiny 1-inch by 1-inch stickers for like $8 each, and and the big ones are like $15, and I'm like,
well, that's because it used to it cost that much to print them. Like they were so expensive to have them outsourced. And even if you're doing them yourself, you have to buy the sticker paper and the ink to do it. And it takes longer, and you have man hours. Like you have to sit there and cut them all out yourself.
You know what?
Before Cricut.
Right.
Before Cricut.
Before Cricut. Cricut? Is it Cricut or Cricut?
I think they're trying to be cute, so they named it something that sounds like a cute little bug.
Now I just sound like I'm trying to do an Australian accent and failing.
Yeah.
Cricket.
Cricket. Cricket.
Cricket.
But even those, like, I don't know. I hate my Cricut now because, I mean, you could do a sheet and it's going to take you 5 minutes per sheet, or you can, which really adds up, or you can just order them now for like $50.
There's a lot of girls on Etsy who use it to make like sticker sheets and stuff. They just lay out the whole sheet, trace out the actual individual things, and like that's what I wanted to do with it. But I think it's cool that you can cut out the shapes and stuff. I wanted to get like a laser cutter for wood and metal. That stuff would be tight.
Well, you can get the Cricut I have is the one that at least with like balsa wood, like softer woods, you can cut with that. But
okay.
I haven't been able to figure out. I was going to do bookmarks with that, but then
be like an extra wood, like one of the thin strips of balsa with the burning, like a wood burning in it. That would be
not the burning, but it does like an embossed thing where it,
right.
It just kind of pushes in, which is cool.
I was just thinking in terms of like the aesthetic of the book with the type of stuff that you're putting out with it, instead of just being like a bookmark, it's like a piece of wood that has like that texture and that kind of brings a little bit of realness to it, and it isn't just a piece of marketing. Like it is, but it's that extra level of marketing that kind of puts you into a different league. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was trying it with leather too, and it just started to look like fabric samples. It's just like a strip of leather. Like, what is this?
Hard because leather is so thick. Yeah.
Yeah, like you want it to feel like something someone wants to keep, and not just say like, do I want my couch to look like this? No, I'm throwing it away. Yeah, it's a challenge, but it's the sort of challenge we like, right? Where it's all crafty solutions. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle.
It's
like solving the Da Vinci Code, but for crafts.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to go try and solve about 80 books tonight. If I can.
Good luck with that.
Let's see if I go to bed before 2.
80 times 15.
Yeah, right.
Drink massive amounts of coffee.
Yeah.
He has a mom you can use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, offers on the table.
Send moms. Send all the moms. Matt needs moms.
I mean, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be like, yo,
Not bad,
my
Matthew.
cousin's my roommate. I'm gonna invite my sister over. You know,
Packing
I'm
party.
I'm gonna invite all these like family members. I'm like, hey, I got some pizza. You should come over. All right, well, cool. You want a
What do you want us
slice?
to do?
Here's some books.
See, that's the way to do it, because I don't know if any of you guys are married, but don't ever ask your spouse to do the packing party with you. that's no bueno. But asking, like, just kind of bringing in people and you can have that sort of contractual relationship with, where it's like, come here and I'll feed you.
One, make friends.
Yeah.
Florida man murdered for asking his
Bribe
wife.
friends.
Yeah.
Florida man murdered for asking his wife to pack.
Yeah, don't
And
do that.
found in swamp.
Go back, Florida man, live on Indiegogo.
Stuck halfway into an alligator.
He was last seen being eaten alive by iguanas.
Oh yeah. Oh man, they're coming. They're coming.
They're making their way up north.
Yeah.
Walking fast.
I saw them first year. I saw them here. I mean, you always see them in Miami, but first year I
Right,
saw
yeah.
them here.
My boyfriend's been going down to Miami to do some work and stuff, and he's like, let me tell you about the iguanas. They're everywhere. And then they weren't anywhere the last time anyway. He's like, I'm so mad because there literally like was a herd of them like chasing after something, and they're scary looking. Like, and I was like, my uncle had iguanas growing up, so I'm not like afraid or anything, but they
So if
apparently
you
are out of
mostly just
hand.
by this river I used to go by.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to go to Miami once a year.
Oh, nice.
hmm So I know about the lizards on the sidewalk all over the place, and
Yeah.
I know about pythons in the Everglades. So who knows? Maybe they're coming out
Capybaras?
too.
I want to see one of the capybaras.
Oh, is that a thing now too?
Yep, there's some capybaras in the swamps in the Everglades.
I gotta look that up. In Florida, I was just
like
looking
that.
up
Pretty
iguanas.
sure.
Oh my goodness, those
My
things
favorite
from
thing was the,
Australia.
They're just big rats. They're like big
Yeah.
Oh, capybaras, yeah.
guinea pigs. They're like big guinea pigs.
What is
They're
his
like a
name?
nutria, but bigger.
They're
I'm
very
gonna look like a
relaxing
doofus if this
filled.
isn't existing. If I'm just retarded here. Hold on, let me see.
Like they're very relaxing. So like, they can ride
Oh,
they can ride
quiet.
like they can ride a crocodile like no issue.
Hmm.
Cappy.
I think the only like natural like predator that actually just doesn't like them are like snakes.
Hmm.
Perfect, because there's so many pythons in the Everglades too now, and unfortunately, they're trying to get rid of those.
But what is his name? Gilbert has
Because there's at least 50 living in the Florida wilds.
Are they supposed to be there?
I don't know.
there's a
Orlando
comic
Weekly.
called Galactic Rodents of Mayhem.
Oh yeah, I remember
Yep.
that.
Capybaras.
There was a capybara in that.
Yep.
That was
Like,
a good
that's the
one. I
main-
was
Yeah.
able to buy that one.
My brother used to
And,
play baseball with that guy's brother.
And
Well,
what is it?
yeah.
Scout Comics actually picked up that comic, by the way.
The Lords of
So they're
Chaos
still-
comic?
No. The Galactic Rodents of Mayhem
Okay.
with the space capybaras.
Oh, I thought you were talking about something else for a second there. Sorry.
Yeah.
I wonder
Yeah,
whatever
I
I have to
happened to
make
that
sure
one.
my information was correct.
Happened to which one, Matt? That's
The
Uh,
yeah.
they're still working on it, but yeah, they are breaking this graphic novel down into single issues. And Scout Comics is starting to do that.
Okay, so they're still producing it. They haven't fulfilled yet. Okay,
Nope. I mean, it's 100-something pages, so it's a
yeah, that takes a
pretty
while.
big
How long
book.
ago was this?
Uh,
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yep, I think it came out like early this year or something like that.
I
Is
wouldn't
when
say
this
it was
launched?
like a
Or it
year
may have
ago.
been or it could have been like late last year.
Yeah. I want Galactic Iguanas of Mayhem. I remember, I think there was a cold snap last year in Florida, and I remember a lot of people talking about them dropping from the trees, like like
Go into
stunned.
hibernation mode.
Yeah, and people were just picking them up. That might be why your boyfriend didn't see a lot in Miami. I think people.
No, this is just recently, like within the last week or so. It's not like it was like in Christmas time or anything.
Yeah,
it's just like the part that he was in. It was like a golf course the first time, so there was like a swarm of them.
Oh sure, yeah,
and like a bunch of gators and stuff. And I was just like, oh, snack time.
Okay, one last story. What's his name? The Final Fantasy guy.
Yoshitaka Amano.
Yeah, Amano. Okay, so I'll dox myself. I went to Ringling in Sarasota like a decade ago, and they brought Amano over from Japan.
I remember that.
Oh yeah, you remember that?
I remember Amano was at one of the. Was it AFO? Or that's Santa Fe Festival Orlando. MetroCon is the one that's over in Tampa, isn't it? There's one of those. Or he came over because he was doing like the one of the concerts, like a orchestrated concert thing.
Oh, is that why? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I figured like if he's gonna come over here, like apparently I just remember it was really hard to. It was one of these like. He's never left Japan, and he never will normally, but he is this time. And
yeah, they like to talk that kind of stuff up and make it like the headlining thing for the first time ever in the United States.
Yeah,
Mr. Amano, welcome Amano-san to the stage.
Oh my gosh, there were so many people saying Amano-san.
Amano-san.
Yeah, like they just learned to say that, and
I know I'm not Japanese and I'm not speaking Japanese, but
yeah, but it was really funny because apparently, so he stayed when he was in Sarasota. He stayed at a friend of mine's house, and then gave a lecture. And it was funny, like there was like a host family that just took care of him. I don't know why they didn't put him in a hotel or something, but he was
needs
really
special
excited.
care.
I think so. He was like painfully.
He's got specific dietary needs that only a small family from America's middle back southern can provide.
Yeah,
maybe he asked for that experience.
Yeah, that might have been.
It's a cultural exchange.
Well, he was definitely apparently this. I don't know why I still remember this, but he was really obsessed with alligators. He wanted to see because he was talking about them like dragons. He was like, I really got to see the dragons you guys have here. He's like, what are you talking about? And so they had to go find a zoo. And I think the Sarasota Zoo had a few alligators, nothing, absolutely nothing special for most anyone in America would not be impressed. But he was like absolutely shocked. And he wanted to spend like an hour just hanging out by the alligator pool, which I thought was really sweet.
And just wait till he sees a crocodile.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just kind of goes with his whole thing, right? Where he's
okay.
His whole reality is like he's like sees everything through this sort of fantasy lens. But and I couldn't even get into the presentation he did because it filled up too fast. But apparently, everyone said it wasn't very good. I think he was just thinking about the gators. Now he wanted to go see them.
I want to see a dragon.
Have you ever had gator bites?
Yeah. I've had gator, General Tso's gator. I've had gator.
General Tso's gator.
Yeah, in Miami, and
they have that
gator jerky, and just kind of like spit grilled, gator. It's really good. Have you had it?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because every piece I had was like a different kind of meat consistency.
Oh, that might not be good. I hear it's really gamey.
I don't know. It was more gaming actually. It was kind of like You know, you hear it all the time, but it actually tastes kind of like chicken.
It's a chicken.
Yeah. It's like it's bouncy, like fish kind of is, but it's kind of more like chicken in terms of taste. Yeah, it's good. I wish, like my fantasy lens is, I wish every state was like just like cultivating like its natural, its fauna, and just like celebrating that. Like I wish we were eating like gator burgers in Florida and all this.
I drank the hell out of some orange juice. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm a big orange fan, and I really like ferns, and lightning. So this is the perfect state for me.
In North Carolina, we're really big into barbecue.
I think everybody with a reasonable brain can get behind barbecue.
Yeah.
But no. Hold on, wait. No, see, there's slight difference with North Carolina. Because North Carolina people will go, no, Tennessee and Texas, they're not doing it right.
See, I grew up.
Barbecue is different.
I grew up in South Carolina, so I'm already, my back's up already. I'm waiting for you to hate on mustard based so I can defend it. Are you? How do you feel about
Look
this?
at me, I look down at it. Look at me, I'm already looking down at it.
Oh my gosh. Looking down on it. It's so good. Like, it's so savory and sour.
Mustard's great.
Yeah.
It's a great condiment. I think it's underappreciated.
If it was so great, why did they put turd in the name?
Oh my gosh.
You know what? I'm gonna steal that line next time.
No
someone
replies.
tries to defend vinegar base, bro.
Yeah, vinegar is my second, honestly.
But like apple cider vinegar, and see what we do at my house is we actually. This sounds lame or it sounds weird, but on the back of the skin of the pig, we actually kind of like do a slight cover of like mayonnaise, and then we do like salt, pepper, brown sugar, and cinnamon.
Okay.
Interesting.
And then we you grill it, and it takes like 12 hours for like a pig.
Mayonnaise
and then
is
we
a
have
good substitute for oils and butters. Generally, 'cause it's made from eggs.
and then we have like a local dude who makes a sauce called Bearhead sauce. It's a vinegar-based sauce, and then we obviously use that to kind of pour on the meat like near the ends. But it's just we've won like local awards.
No big deal.
No, like I'm all about the vinegar.
It's not mustard
It is
based.
good. Vinegar's great. I hate when they just like the sweet stuff is just like, I don't know. Sweet's fine, but you're just gonna drown out the taste of the meat. You need to let the meat be the sweet part. You know what I mean? Like that's where vinegar or mustard can kind of balance that, where it gives the savory to help the meat taste all the sweeter, I think. But when you just throw that sugary Texas stuff all over it, like, I don't know, you can't even taste the meat. You get the texture, but you can't taste it.
Instead, you just have a mess on your hands and a mouth that's on fire, and nothing is great, and you can't touch your eyes because you got sauce all over them, and it's a nightmare.
You know what's the worst? Hot sauce that doesn't have flavor.
It's just fire.
Yeah.
Burning is the flavor.
I hate that. It's so.
My
You know what?
flavor is burning.
You know what? There's two hot sauces I hate. One where it's just like it has no flavor and it's just pure fire, and the other one where it's like, oh, this is just water with like red color dye. You need to find that spot in the middle. Both of you on the other end suck. Feel bad. Probably eat mustard-based barbecue.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I didn't realize this was going into the personal attack direction.
They'd probably go to In-N-Out and get animal style burgers.
Is animal style just mean raw?
No,
Like
it's
just raw
it's
meat. They just slap some raw meat on some
mustard
patties,
grilled
but
or
they
something.
lightly grilled. They lightly toasted a couple of buns.
No, it's mustard grilled or something.
Oh, okay.
Really? I've never even
I was
heard of
going to
that.
say the other sounds delicious, though. Rare burger on
Oh man.
just some Worcestershire sauce on the side. Boy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait. Okay.
One moment. I do have something great to share.
Okay. You can share it right after me.
Yeah.
Purple berries.
Wait, is there audio? No.
Oh, Ralph, how did it taste? Ew. Oh, ew. Tastes like Bernie.
Oh my gosh. Haven't watched that show in 20 years, but I love it. I'm glad that it still exists.
Oh, Ralph's my favorite.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the song Ralph Wiggum by the Bloodhound Gang?
No.
It's just a song made up of Ralph Wiggum quotes.
Oh my goodness.
It's really cute. I like it.
Wow. Only 12 years old. I love it. Oh, that's great.
It's
The
only
Bloodhound Gang. That's the
Fire, Water, Burn, and the
Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
Gang. Yeah.
You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals. So let's.
Yeah.
Yep.
Monkey guys.
Oh my gosh.
The Bad Touch. That's what it's called.
Bad Touch.
Yeah.
Wow. Taking it back to 2004.
I'm dating myself. That's what I'm doing.
Well, there's YouTube videos going back to 2006. I mean, that's wow.
Saying that Discovery Channel has animals having sex on it, that's dating yourself. Like
That's true.
Like you, like if someone says, "Oh, the other day I was watching Discovery Channel and there was rhinos having sex," you know that they're lying because now it's all like
Dark Week every week.
American Hot Shot or Hot. What was it called? American Hot Rod or what was that show where with the guy with the mustache?
I think it's American Hot Rodded because my parents watch that stuff.
Something
They love
Chop-
American Hot
Chopper,
Rodded.
maybe.
Yeah, American Choppers is one too. Because what they do is they have like multiple variations of the same type of show, and they cross into each other's world sometimes.
Hmm.
It's pretty crazy.
Human choice cuts. What's going on here? This
You
is
know-
Facebook.
That's what I was like.
You know, just saying that if some reason if COVID ever got worse,
Oh my gosh.
the brain you don't eat it. All right, it's full of fatty stuff. It's not good. But you know, like the arms, like like the upper arm, it's like a lamb shank. Slow cook it. Forearm,
Isn't that where mad
it's
cow
tough.
disease
It's
came
really
from?
good for
I
really
was
good
just
for
thinking
soup.
the same thing.
Like this is a whole diagram of like, hey, the legs, it's very, very stringy. Good for like a stew. Slow cook it.
Oh my gosh.
We have a lot of
But
these at
really,
work.
really what you want? Yeah.
I won't ask where you work.
Okay. The morgue. No, I mean it says like I'm just reading the first top comment
Yeah.
underneath his post. It says we have a
Oh.
lot of these at work, and I'm just like,
Hmm.
Are you working in a mortuary or?
She does. Like I asked
Would that
her,
be
she was like,
justified
I work
in a
at
mortuary?
She literally does. Yeah.
I'm just that good
Yeah.
at guessing.
I will say
I was like, where do you work? Crematory.
Nice.
crematorium.
Metal.
So,
Metal AF.
so you know, like, hey, well, they're burning the body anyway, so why not go ahead and get a nice little rack of ribs before you
The
know you
peppermint
burn the
schnapps
rest.
talking. Oh my gosh. I can end this on an even more morbid note. I went back to school and I did a year of med school, and I had to spend all that year in we call it wet lab, which is hanging out with a cadaver for 9 months.
Oh no!
Yeah. And you're cutting everything, tip to tail with a scalpel, and it's a weird. Okay, like everyone could relate to this in med school, but this is gonna sound strange. But I went in vegetarian, I came out a carnivore, and because
that makes sense. I work at it I used to work at like a butchery.
Yeah, like you're just looking at meat. You're looking at cured. It's literally. I mean, that's what a preserved cadaver is cured meat, basically. And you're just staring at it all day and slicing it, and getting to know it intimately. You're reading books about it, taking tests about it, and you're just thinking about meat every day, all day, drawing it. So I don't know. It just feels like
start to look like little chunks of meat.
It really does. And you different body parts start to look like different cuts.
I kind of understand.
Then you
yeah.
Go ahead then.
I was like, and then you kind of go, man, this piece of meat pairs really well with this wine. The farther down the rabbit hole you go.
Well, you never would, because it's pumped full of formaldehyde, but it just reminds you of the pulled pork place down the street that you go to afterwards. Like everyone would be hungry after lab day. It's very
hungry. You know what I could go for right now? One of those big drumsticks from Universal.
Ooh, yeah. Or the medieval fair.
Yeah, I was thinking Ren Fair.
Fun fact.
I don't know. I'm getting a craving for protein right now.
Yeah.
Fun fact: a good amount of the drums at Disneyland, or what is it, World? The Florida one comes from my workplace.
Oh, nice. Really? They ship them down? Wow.
Yep.
I am in the mood for some capybara. They got a lot going on there.
Well, if they're related to guinea pigs are raised to be eaten in Peru. So
yeah, right? Yeah. I mean,
it just is like a guinea pig with more meat. Like, just eat it. I wonder if there's like worms and stuff in it. Like, they probably are not very hygienic animals.
Depends on how well you cook it.
I mean, I just think, they just look kind of thick,
I feel like a good garlic herb marinade might do well with
some
it.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Potatoes and some carrots on the side.
It's lousy with parasites.
Yeah. Might put a little, put some mustard, just put it on the table, and if if it happens to find its way on your plate.
Yeah, this is making me kind of sick. I'm actually afraid of bodily parasites. So,
are they parasitic? I don't even know.
I don't know. Probably it's a rodent.
Yeah.
Then again, I don't know.
I mean, we eat pigs, and you can't have a medium rare pork chop for that reason.
You can't eat like raw chicken or anything. The only thing you can really eat raw is like cow, right? Like, I'm sure you can eat other things raw, obviously.
You can eat
but
cow raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can eat. It was thought of for a while to be good for pregnant women to eat raw meat because of the nutrients in it. But maybe I'm just thinking of Rosemary's Baby.
See, I just know like the opposite end of like dried aged meat, where it's you have it like the meat get molded and then you cut out the mold and
like artisanal meats.
Yeah, you do that several times where you get the very thin piece, but it's like super tender, super rich.
Like the prosciutto. Prosciutto is like that. It's a fermented meat, thinly sliced. Is that what gabagool is? Is gabagool a prosciutto?
Yeah, you were tweeting about gabagool. I just know it's like
because of Sopranos. I just keep thinking about the gabagool tweet, and it makes me laugh every time. And it's like at the grocery store, like I should just go up there and ask for gabagool and see if it's a real thing. Can I get the gabagool? Give me that gabagool.
Wow.
Prosciutto is so good on like a nice roast beef sandwich. Whew.
So it's like a mixed meat.
Yeah, it's
right?
like a bunch of meat together. If you look at like I know like when you look at prosciutto, it has like a rainbow sheen on it. It's crazy looking. It's so thin and delicious.
Yeah.
Gabagoo.
It's just
You know what?
We're just looking at pictures of meat. We've been doing this for 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Look up a dried age. Look up a dried age ribeye.
Love it.
Boom.
Wow. So is this? So you really do have to cut the mold off? I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. Because like when you see it, like the butcher, it almost has like that, like the outer skin has that almost like lifeless gray tone.
Oh, that gag reflex instantly.
Yummy.
But it's so good. Like if you grill this,
It's like the blue cheese part or something of the meat. Like, I mean, I guess that's what curing is, right? It's not just salt. It's letting nature kind of transform it.
I thought it also had to do with smoking. I thought that had to do with curing it.
Oh well, it depends on like what you do. Like because this is dried age, it has to be within like in a special room at like certain temperatures and
anymore.
Yeah,
Apparently,
like,
that's been dry aged a whole year, 365 days.
That's crazy looking.
Excessive. Wow. What does that taste like? I'm so curious now. I want to eat this.
Like heaven. Like the moment you have a dried age steak, you'll be so sad the next time you have like a normal steak. You're like, oh, this is not even slightly. This is a disappointment.
I will just take your word on that.
Do you think Salt Bay has a dry aged steak video? Do you think they'll
Old Bay?
Old Bay.
No, I'm talking about Salt Bay.
Oh, I thought you said Old Bay has like a recipe for dried aged. I was just like, you too can make your own dried aged meat at home.
No, you can't make it at home because it has to be within like certain like condensation and certain temperatures and.
Yeah, it's got to be probably in a super.
Don't tell me what I can't do. I can if I want to build a really expensive freezer in my backyard and start curing meat. Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm just watching this guy butter this pan now. It's very.
Was that all butter? Wow.
Oh no, that's meat. Is that?
No, it was like butter and like the way he's just cutting into it. It's very like somewhere between an 80s like romance and an 80s action movie.
Yeah. Ooh.
He loves that meat. He is
nice
in love with that meat.
So you can eat raw beef. Like when you think about it,
is that where that meme is from?
Oh, yeah. This is the guy that did the hand thing with the salt.
Hand meme guy.
Mm-hmm. Salt Bay. Yeah, like you can eat that because if it's never, the only way bacteria is getting into the meat if it's raw is if it's been exposed.
Yeah.
From the surface, unlike chicken, which it's like inside the flesh itself.
It's just so juicy and delicious. I cannot.
I am glad.
Thinking about steak.
Very glad I was able to hijack the whole conversation in the stream of.
No, that's cool.
Let me show off the glory that is dried aged meat.
Now it's my turn. Look up pemmican.
What?
Look up pemmican.
Pemmican?
Tell me pemmican.
Oh.
Tell me what you think that is. What do you think that is?
Brownies.
Nope, it's meat.
I mean, I guess that's the
bread.
final destination of letting something sit out for years or something, maybe. Oh, is this the shark stuff that they eat?
Some of it looks like bread, and then some of it looks like just jerky.
Yeah,
I'm confused by this. Like some moments is like, boom, brownie version. Boom.
It's
Jerky
frontier food.
version.
See, like,
It's food from the
you always
frontier days,
have to
man.
ask if they should.
Ooh, wait, go back up slightly. I saw like some bars, and I was there. It is. Those bars on the like over to the right one. Boom. That reminds me of Snowpiercer. We're just having some meatballs, the protein bars on the train.
Oh yeah.
Don't ask what it is.
I really like that movie. Like it took me. I didn't like it at first, and then the longer I watched, I was like, "This is getting weirder and weirder." Like, why did they even make this?
Have you guys seen Soylent Green?
No.
No. I just know the meme.
Okay, never mind. I was gonna say like it almost parallels Snowpiercer, except for Snowpiercer is in like a much more confined space, so it's still about overcrowding and stuff like that, and like whatever. But yeah, go ahead. Never mind.
Snowpiercer gets better when someone tells you look at it through the eyes of imagine a rated R Willy Wonka movie.
Yeah. What someone said. The writer, he can't legally do this, but he was thinking of it. He's strongly encouraging people to think of it actually being within the Wonkaverse. Like it's just fast forwarded in time, I guess. It's the same universe, but
Snowpiercer.
Yeah. Because when what is his name? Chris Evans, when they first introduced his character, and what is his name? It's not Charlie. It's like, what is it? Curtis. You have like a bucket drop, and the whole like W being everywhere, and then each like challenger of like the head of the train is supposed to be like one of the or represent an adult version of like each of the 5 kids.
Yeah, but it's also a fun like action flick too,
Yeah.
on top of it. And it's got Captain America guy. So all right, here's the last thing. What do you guys think of
One more thing.
Have you been I went to Iceland and I ate weird fermented shark and it was horrible. But I never had the sheep's head.
No, take it away.
Oh, sorry.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
You come from a country that has no fruit, no vegetables, no roots or tubers.
Yeah, what do you eat?
Don't think it's scary.
I don't know. Good question. I don't know.
Question. How pretty was the woman in Iceland? Because I always just kind of picture like 6'4", like blonde giant Amazons, but like wearing Viking shit.
No, you're wrong. They're 7 feet.
It's funny, like I'm not sure there are any Icelanders. I think it's just tourists, and they don't like it's been tourists this whole time, and the island's empty, and we're just meant to like think that Iceland exists, and Icelanders exist.
What do they call those like towns where they're just fake towns used for ops? They're like red towns or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like a fake city that they set up purely for photo ops, basically.
Yeah. There's only like 100,000 Icelanders or something, like ethnically, and everything else is just, it's Europeans on vacation. But yeah, apparently, which tells me that probably it might just be this weird cosmic joke where they throw, sheep's head on platters and tell people to eat it because it's authentic Iceland, but there's no actual Islander there to eat it.
And then they see like a tourist go, I don't quite know.
Yeah.
No, oh my God, he did it! He did it! He actually ate the sheep head! Who actually eats it?
I don't know, man. There's some pretty weird things. I saw one time a bowl of soup that had a bat in it.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I heard there was a bad breakout of E. coli.
Yeah, I think I heard something about that too.
It just happens so fast. It's gone now. You blink and you'll miss it. Man, it's almost 11 o'clock. Guys, it's been a pleasure talking with you.
Cool. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I got to bounce. Matt has to pack books.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been really fun.
Still, that smell like shot snops, so you know.
Just snooples.
Snops.
Yep.
Got
Cool.
a new
Well-
store that I like called Wonder Woods. Have fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
No, Wonder Woods, not Wonder Woods, Wander.
Well, you're
That's not my
following
own
in
title.
Hemingway's footsteps. Drink or write while you're drinking and edit while you're sober.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh no, I discovered like when I get like really drunk when I edit because I'm like, ooh, I'm not even typing words now. What is this? What was I doing last night?
Yep. I know that
All right,
feeling.
fellas. I'm bouncing. Have a
Yeah.
good night.
Yeah.
Thanks
See you,
for
Carrot.
Have a
inviting
good one.
Good
Bye.
chatting with you, Carrot. Good chatting with you, Lumpdrop. And
You too, Matt. See you on the Twitterverse.
Justin,
All right.
always good hanging out with you. And thanks everyone in the
Always
chat
good
for
to hang
hanging
out
out
with
with
you,
us.
Matt.
It's been good.